Hi, I'm David Dexter, and I graduated from Aurora College in those days in 1967. In those days, the initiation ceremonies, shall we call them, of getting up in the night and having trash cans of water dumped on us and different questions and different things like, and walk up to me, well in my case, where are you from? I said, oh Maine. He said, oh, and get an egg slashed on my head. Of course, it wouldn't matter what state I'd said, you know, but, and I don't know, that broke the ice. Well, the next year, I was president of the class, so in charge of initiation, and the first room I went into, went to get someone up at about 2 in the morning or whatever it was Steve Bell, and I didn't know him, and and you're going to remember too, I probably weighed about 120 pounds and looked like I was 14 at the most, and so I go in with all this bravado with a couple of other guys and say, okay, you got to get up, we're going out, blah blah blah, this sort of thing, and they said, where are you from? And he says, Bath, Maine. He says, oh, you're okay, go right back to bed. Well, apparently we did such a good job of initiation that it was canceled after that. It was the last year the college ever had it. So I suspect that maybe I helped cause the demise. I was probably just barely a sophomore, and in a literature course that Dr. Fuller was teaching, and I was very much overwhelmed by the upperclassmen who were there. Because, you know how scheduling was, some courses only afterward every other year, and so in order to get that class, I took it then, and I may have been the only sophomore, and most were seniors and some juniors, whom I thought were these intellectual geniuses, of course, and I was just this little podunk kid from Maine. I remember him, because he was the great master of inductive method teaching, and we were presented with this poem, and we were to look at it, and Dr. Fuller says, well, what do we see in the first line? And several suggest, oh, this meaning, or that thought, or this. And of course, he would never say that was wrong. He'd go, oh, interesting, Miss Smith, you know, or, well, that's a nice observation, Mr. Jones, or whatever, you know. And all the time I'm thinking something, and I'm thinking, this can't be it, but, you know, finally I get the nerve up to raise my hand, and he says, Mr. Dexter, and I says, well, it begins with a spondy. He goes, very nice, Mr. Dexter. And I think that was the first time I thought, you know, I guess I fit in here. But it's, I guess because I remember it so vividly, it must have had a profound impact. And I think maybe just, and that's when my grades started to improve. I've neglected to mention earlier the tremendous respect I have for the Paralinis. I was so thrilled. I never had a course. I was not in music, although he used to try and induce me to be in the choir. I don't know what sort of joke he was trying to pull on the world then, but any rate, tremendous respect for the Paralinis, and talk about love for an institution and its people, I'm sure. When decided to make the Paralini Center, I said I couldn't think of a more deserving honor than that. What a fine example of a person. You know, what a love of his faith, his family, the institution of the college. Those are things I think I took away most